It's time for our Upcycling Academy with the help of our experts Laura DeBarra and John Amabile. We're going to help you make the most out of everything that you own. So it's a worn out wardrobe, a cherished chair, a tatty table. They are here to help you give it all a new lease of life. Good morning, John. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning.
Good. Oh, what a chirpy pair you are. Well?
Yep.
Good. Now, we're talking about bedside tables, upcycling bedside tables. So are we talking, Laura, about your old tatty bedside table making it look nicer, or are we talking about getting some random thing from elsewhere in the house and creating a bedside table?
I think you can do either. I think now that you've been with us for many weeks, we know that you can make something out of anything. And if something needs to be used daily, it just needs to be level and it needs to be able to hold whatever you're going to be putting into it. But I do think that bedside tables are something I see a lot like thrown away before they've been judged or like a new lease of life has been given to them. So I would always, like most people have something next to their bed that they maybe aren't that fond of and they want to get something new. They'll usually have something there though. And
I was going to say your husband, but that would just be really unnecessary. I'm joking.
It can just be a case of like one update I always think looks amazing is adding on new legs. Like if you were to put on like a thin minimal metal leg, you've got a really modern looking piece of furniture. If you were to add on like a claw and foot and ball onto the bottom as well, painted a nice pop of colour, you have a different type of look. So updating something that's originally there can add value, like much more value from a personal point of view for your bedside cabinets as well. But you can also use things like old wine boxes. A lot of people will use chairs or stools. The opportunities are endless when it comes to it, to be honest. But I would nearly always think that people have something there that they can update.
Yeah. I mean, John, Laura talking there about, maybe changing the leg on a bedside cabinet or whatever. The good thing is that these things seem to be much more widely available, to be able to buy a whole different selection of legs, of handles, of little, well, they're not accessories. What would you call them? Furniture?
Yeah, furniture for accessories for furniture. But yeah, if it's too low and you don't want to put legs on it, you can actually, I know we've spoken about this, cantilever them off the wall so it gives floor space underneath. You need some good wall fixings. So if it's that kind of modern looking thing, you could maybe add it onto the wall so it looks like a cantilevered shelf. Or you could even just, as I've done, stick a nice tray on top of something old and horrible. It gives a whole new quick look to the surface of the unit itself. But I'll just say one thing, and this is something I think about all the time. Knobs.
Indeed.
Knobs
Yep.
can change the look of anything. A kitchen cupboard, an old drawer unit, and definitely a bedside cabinet. A nice new knob will just give you something lovely to look at in the morning.
Do you have a favourite shape?
I like just the old traditional, a nice big round thick knob, and something that really just dictates the style of the piece. But it could be an old Moroccan knob. These lovely glass knobs, the evil eye. It just kind of rejuvenates any old piece of furniture.
Yeah, and really simple to get a hold of it. You were talking about a tray on the top.
Yeah.
Just like a regular tea tray or something?
Well, a tea tray, they're really in vogue just now. A lot of people are using them to adorn coffee tables. But if you've got a nice, patterned tray, it could be a marbled tray, it could be a gold tray that just sits on top of your bedside table with a lamp on it, a nice picture frame, maybe with me in it, with or without hair. Then it's a lovely little, it changes the surface completely. And equally, I'm often to be found in skips.
Yes.
Looking at things, as you know.
Yeah.
And so if you go to old building sites and they're doing bathrooms up, and sometimes you can get a nice marble effect tile that could sit on the top of a unit and make it look almost like a butcher's block. It can give it a nice sort of marble look with a very, very simple paint effect underneath. And if you're good at paint effects, you could even paint into a panel, maybe an image, or put a piece of wallpaper. Very in vogue just now, leaves and palm trees. You could put an inset panel. Or if you're good with a staple gun, you could pad the whole thing and make it look like a lovely bedside poof.
IKEA bedside tables, they're pretty standard.
Mm-hmm.
Is there much that you can do to try and sort of customise those and maybe give them a new lease of life?
Definitely. I think one good thing with flat packs is it's not usually going to be a real solid wood. A lot of times it's like an MDF with a vinyl coating on it, so it's really easy to update yourself. I would say as well, a lot of times flatback furniture, the minute you spot it, you're like, oh, I know that that's that particular store or that's that particular brand. So making it your own, I would always encourage anyway. Something that I always find lovely is on black bedside cabinets. If you want to put on like a really bright wallpaper, let's say you're in a rental or you don't have the budget right now to do your full wall and the wallpaper that you absolutely love, you can buy just one pack of it and cover a bedside cabinet, or just cover the door or cover the top, put a glass cut to size on top of that, and make your bedsides features as well. Then if you have a bedside cabinet now at the moment that is solid wood, let's say for example, and it's looking worse for wear, or you've seen one in like a secondhand store and it's got watermarks on the top, it's really easy to remove stuff like that. So you can buy it really cheaply and then get rid of the problem yourself. You just use an iron and a tea towel and it can take it off within like under a minute. So all the watermarks will go.
Really?
And then you can, yeah, oh my God, it's like one of my favorite tricks. When
hang on, go through that one again. This is good.
Okay.
What is that?
So what you want to do, I even have a video on this because I'm so passionate about it. A lot of people get rid of furniture, or like my thing, the reason I put it up is because people often DM me being like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my deposit. I'm after putting water rings on my landlord's kitchen table or coffee table or bedside table. And as I always say, like, don't freak. If it's just like a regular kind of modern wood, it won't have too much of a coating on top of it. So you just want to get a tea towel, turn the steam off on the iron, because what's after happening is the varnish on top of the wood, and in between the varnish and the wood is after getting a bit of air in. When you've put moisture on top of it, the moisture's trickled through and it's being trapped in between the two layers. So you just want to release it. So heat's going to release it, put down a tea towel, and then you want to run the iron over the wood, always checking, like take it away, put it down for a second, take it away. And that heat then is going to release that water ring. Then if you have a really old-fashioned, like not old-fashioned because I love the style, if you have an older antique table, what's actually happening with those is they need to be redone every kind of 5 years if there's a lot of use. And that kind of lacquer on top almost has worn away. So you might need to use a hairdryer on that because it's actually going to melt it down a little bit. Once you've the watermark out, then you'll need to retreat it again and seal it.
Wow, that was good.
I love it.
That was very good.
I'm always like, don't throw it out.
Top tip of the day.
Top tip of the day. I just think we should have a moment's silence and respect for that one, Laura. That is blooming good. That is. John, I saw this woman on social media the other day who was zhooshing up her bedside table, and she had bought a lorry load of lollipop sticks, those wooden ones, and she had painstakingly sort of arranged them in some kind of marquetry sort of pattern, which it looked good and all that, but my goodness, that's a labour of love, isn't it?
Well, it's something that would have been good for lockdown because it's a project, and I think anything like that, it does keep you busy. But I will say, when we spoke about this last time, my dad started saving me up lollipop sticks, but he used them, I can't say the brand, Magnum. It's a shaped lollipop stick. It can't be that one. It's the old, straight, a bit like the ones you get in the coffee shops, just a stirrer. And you chop the round bit off because it needs to be straight. So if you're saving your lollipop shapes sticks, and Dad, if you're listening, stop saving them. It's doing my mum's head in because there's 1,000 of them now on the kitchen worktop. But because they're shaped, you can't marquetry you can't make a key pattern with them because it's not got straight edges. I just thought I'd say that now.
Good. It needs to be straight. Right, we'll bear that in mind.
Thank you.
A final couple of minutes. All the old cables and wires that I've certainly got hanging around my house, I take it I'm not the only one, Laura. I can't imagine that there's much that you can do with them, but apparently I'm wrong.
Yeah, I actually think that this is something that more people should know about. Everybody has a box of cables, right? And most of them don't even work. Like, it's worth sitting down for half an hour, plugging each one in, or maybe you don't have the device anymore, or the device is one that's used. But you can actually reuse these cables because otherwise they just go to landfill and nothing gets done with them. So if you have a quick Google search on bowls made from cables, for example, there's a lot of YouTube videos on it where you just slice the cable open and you've got these gorgeous bright cables inside. Or you can also use them to wrap with wool and make into little planters and display bowls. But there's a lot you can do with it. I've seen people make gorgeous, where they've woven the cables to look like little baskets for holding fruit. Or let's say, for example, the way like bananas always going off and everyone loves a hanger for a banana. You can make like a really fun one of those as well. If you have younger kids that like making little bracelets and jewellery, you can use the wires for that. But there's anything that you would use as a basket or a container or something that is woven, you can make them out of the old cables, and it just looks fun and bright. You can paint them afterwards if you wish, but the bright colours inside are actually really nice.
Beat that, John Amabile.
Well, I love 1950s kitchen furniture. And if you think about the woven plastic that's on the legs of furniture, if you've got a horrible old chest, you could wrap that round, ribbed for personal pleasure, around the bottom of your chest of drawers. Looks amazing. If the wire is stiff enough, you could form it into the shape of a face, an outline shape like the artist Modigliani, where you have like a black outline. So if the wire is stiff enough, you could create the outline of a face shape and make it look like a stunning piece of sculpture. Ha!
Well, okay, all right. I think it's a score draw. You're both blooming good. What else can I say? John Amabile, Laura De Barra, thank you very much.